Right, so I'm going to show you the whole thing, the whole process, because part of this trick is that I got to remember everything every time I do it. So all I've done so far is open up the Voldemort, which is the spring 19 sections with descriptions up here at the top. This is as of October 31st, and then I'll update it in early December once it's sort of locked. That's in air quotes, locked. But yeah, the spreadsheet, I added a little outcomes column that's not usually there. This is supposed to say descriptions. I must have accidentally, oops. Yeah. Must have accidentally deleted that. So, you see all these headings here. There's a bunch that are hidden. See how it's like goes and skips a bunch of letters and then suddenly it's whatever. So, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of some of this stuff. I don't need these columns because I don't search on them at all, but also the course number has to be the first column, otherwise VLOOKUP doesn't work. So let's get rid of these guys. Bam. And then I get rid of iDiv and div, which basically just means if it's undergrad and then what department it's in, so design undergrad, but we don't need that either. Get rid of those. Title 1 and Title 2 we want. Credits we don't need. Course ID we don't, or instructor ID we don't need. I'll get rid of those. I-type, which I'm not even sure what that is. We don't need that. So we get this, and then go in here and unhide, and you'll see the different days columns. So it's basically Sunday code, Monday code, whatever. We can leave that hidden because when I copy and paste this, it won't pick those up. So I go to my drive, go to form projects, not LMS committee, but form projects. And then I go to syllabus template folder. Then I'll open up last year's. I'll use the copy of it here because if I sort on last modify, that helps. If I do the faculty input here, you can see that somebody probably tried to type something in on the 18th. Try to do a syllabus. Usually it's the online people who are super gung-ho about getting their syllabi done immediately. So I'll pop into that just to double check what my columns are and everything else. And so this is the actual responses that the form gives me, but I need two tabs. One is the responses that it pulls in. So this is the form that gets populated and actually generates the syllabus. And then this one, excuse me, is the source. And so this is what I'm making out of this. This is the Voldemort, and you can see, I actually did have the credits column in there. So I'll go back here and undo, leave credits, get rid of ID, get rid of I-type. That's not a big deal because we never refer to the credits part, but it just means that when I count stuff over for VLOOKUP, it'll be necessary. So here we go, course IDs, man, frogs. And you see course, title, title 2, credits, instructor last name, first name, room, begin date, end date, begin time, end time, days, which means the days of the week that it meets, outcomes, you can see there aren't any for those online classes, instructor email, and I did that because sometimes people fill it out, people who are different fill it out than the actual instructor. So example, if I fill it out or if a department director fills it out, then you get this, but you still want the faculty email on the syllabus, not whoever just filled out the form. And then this is a course number without the section count on it, and I use that for searching on the outcomes. So there's that. All right, so you can see in here I've actually got, there's no code. It's all been copied and pasted right from here. So I do my work in Excel, and then I copy and paste it into this second sheet, and then I have a form responses sheet that has the code in it that draws all this stuff. So if I go to, like, on here, you can see how this is the code. It's all copy and paste this into a spring 19 version in a second. So yeah, so instructor email, all that stuff's in there, and you'll see it'll get reordered when I actually pull it into the other sheet. In fact, now I gotta remember what I do next. So next I can pull in all the outcomes here, or I can pull it on the other side, which might be a little easier. But if I do, if I want to do a search, what I gotta do is get rid of all these spaces. So I'll go through here, select that whole column. This is a pain in the ass. There's probably a macro way to do it, but I haven't taken the time to figure that out yet. find and select replace, and I find anything with 2 spaces, and I replace it with 1 space. I do replace all, and then it says a bunch, and I do it again, and it's 104, and I do it again until it says there aren't any more. So now it should have everything should just be a single space instead of double spaces. So yeah, I stripped all those spaces out of here. Now I can use this to do the VLOOKUP from the other deal. Sometimes I like to do a little trick, and this is extra work, but it's helpful. If I'll do this, grab this whole first column, do a copy, make a new page, do a paste. All right, so I'm going to trim off the section numbers. This will be useful for searching for outcomes because the outcome sheet doesn't have any section numbers on it. So I say I want the leftmost characters, start A2, and then I just want the length of that. So the left characters. So the way this works is you put in the string, and then you put in, which is the cell A2, and then you put in how many of those numbers you want, or how many of those letters you want, characters. So I'm putting in A2 minus 2, and that should give me, it should take off, actually minus 3, because I don't want the space on there either. So that should take off the 0, 1, and the space. And I should get COM 2000. Bam! So that works. So copy that. Paste it all the way down. Doesn't matter how this is sorted, which I've never fully understood why it doesn't sort alphabetically, but I guess it's by department. And I paste there. So now I've got, you'll have multiples, but at least that way the outcomes will repeat and all that kind of stuff. So now, if I want to get outcomes here, I can go, let me look at our outcomes master sheet, which I think I popped up back here. Where'd it go? Yeah, here's the outcomes master sheet. And you notice I changed anything that had a 2D at the beginning, I changed to TD because good old VLOOKUP doesn't work if you start with the same, or start with a number instead of a character. So I'm going to look back at this page, and I'll search on this whole thing, replace, and anything that is 2D will be replaced with TD. And I'll say replace all. 2 replacements. Good. So now I'll do the same thing over here. I know this is like, seems ridiculously complicated, but it only takes me about 10 minutes when I'm not talking and trying to remember it all from scratch. I'll do the same thing. And I'll do the same thing on this one. I should have just done it all at once, but, you know, good. So that's the course of no section, and then this is going to be our outcomes. So I will make this equals VLOOKUP VLOOKUP. The lookup value will be B2 VLOOKUP B2, which is, I'm looking up on this number, and then the table array that I'm looking up is the place you go to, and so that's going to be this sheet over here, and it'll be the whole thing because all of the classes are in here. It's not just whatever, although this one hasn't been completely updated, so I'll have to go back and do some manual fixes. So there's that, and then go comma, and I have to go back to this sheet, comma, and then it's like column index number, and so what I want is 3, because in this sheet it is 1, 2, 3, oh, I guess I want 4, sorry, 4. And even though it's letters, oh, it's the whole thing in here. That's weird. So I think I want 10. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. 12. So 12. Because even though they're hidden, VLOOKUP will count them. And then always put false, so it's not trying to do a perfect exact match. So I go like this. Gadoosh. Now I got them. Look at, there they are. For comics. That's awesome. You can put them in wrap text here if you want to. That just makes the thing really long, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. And then I take this VLOOKUP, and guess what? Paste them all the way down. paste. Now I should get this. Yep, good, good. And see, anything with a 0 means it didn't return anything. So internship doesn't have them, and then comics senior project doesn't have them yet either. So we'll find those. And then if it says NA, it doesn't find it there either. And that's usually because 0 means there was nothing in there, and NA usually means that the class wasn't found. So I don't have 5103 in that sheet yet. So of course these ES ones also might be because it still says BS in here. Let me look. Yeah, these are ES. So this is right. The courses aren't in there. So like for example, 1501 right there, critical thinking. If I go back to my other sheet here, 1501 showed up, but 5103 did not because it's not in that sheet. So I'll have to upload those manually for this version. But yeah, so now I've got these outcomes, and what's cool is that since I did this little trick, this is all in the same exact order. So what I can do is hit escape there, take all of these all the way down, copy, go over here, and I'm not just going to paste because I'll just paste the VLOOKUP thing. I'm going to paste values, and that way I'll just get the text. And I'll take this whole column and I'll hit wrap text, and then I'll double click it to make it a little bigger, and then I'll align at the top, and I'll put it left and there, and now it should actually look a little better, and then I can shrink some stuff down. So so there, now I've got my base sheet, so I'm going to save this. And this should not have any code in it. It's just the text. So I'll just do Control A, select all, copy. Then I'll go over to this guy, and see, these are my form responses here. So what I got to do is actually go back to here, and I got to start a new form. So I'm going to take the input form from Fall 18, make a copy. Rename it. And this is going to be, guess what, Spring 19. And I got to open it. And it says that's the name up there, but you got to change it down here in the actual thing that shows up to the faculty. Good. All this stuff should be the same. Responses, I need to make a new sheet. So create a spreadsheet. That's what I want it to be called. Great, create. Okay, here's my spreadsheet. You can see it has all the stuff in it, but it doesn't have anything past what's in the form. So what I'll do is make a new page here. Then I paste. And I'll paste in everything I just copied that I already had the clipboard from over here. Takes a second. And it always feels like it didn't work, and then it works. There it goes. And just leave that alone, but I'm going to rename it so I know what the date is. Rename this page. Let's call it, data 10/31/18. And so then this will actually pull from this. But I got to add the columns here. So I go back to fall, where I have all my stuff, and I grab this heading here, the headings, which helps me remember what it's supposed to be, and copy. Go over here, just arrowing over till the empty spot, paste. There they are. Now the trick is the way this code works is that it doesn't always write it properly. So what I'll do is go like this, like that, copy over here, not there, go to the old one or the new one, and paste. There, so now it's working, and the first one won't work. So see how I said fall 18/07/01 here? I just called it data. Maybe what I should do is actually rename this to be official. You can see I don't have the process completely memorized. So spring 19, 10/31/18, and then So in here, with all this selected, I can do a find and replace. Find and replace, and I make sure you search formulas. I'm going to find fall 18 underscore 0701 and replace it with spring 19 10/31/18. So I didn't put the years in there last time, but you know, whatever. This is good. Replace all. Okay, great. Done. So now my formula should refer to this sheet, which is great. The one thing that's going to be weird, though, is if you look at this one, instructor emails here in the middle, but in this one, for whatever reason, instructor emails after the description. So this is, and look at outcomes and stuff are swapped. So you might have to, you can either recode the formula, which is what I'm going to do, or you just move the columns around. And it depends on how Rivers sends it out of Gensbar, because sometimes his reports change based on updates and all that stuff. So, but we should be good here. Let's go like this, and instructor email is, let's see, if I do this, I'm gonna cut this one. I'll put it down here after outcomes. And then I will go back to this blank one and remove it. So now, if you look at our VLOOKUP, faculty email should be number 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. That way I didn't have to go through and change that. But I think I got my outcomes and descriptions switched. So this should be 14, this should be 13. Let's look here. Descriptions is 14, outcomes is 13, so I just switched those. 14, 13. So this array formula thing just means it automatically will paste, so I don't need to cut and paste everything all the way down. It'll just automatically do it. Although it does act funny, after I have to put one response in first before it'll work. Bam. Now it should populate. All right, there we go. It's working. So now if I type in, if I go over here and type in like AH1701, 01, and I go over here, you can see it populated. So it's working. So now the trick is sometimes when I go back and actually fill out the form, it freaks out. So I got to figure out where the form will, if the form will actually work. So I'll do this. Let's try it. Preview. Let's do AH 1701 02 something something, and then I gotta do something here. I'll do something in the course calendar and then submit. Now if I go to spring thing here, it should show responses. Yeah, see it chopped it up here at the beginning. So here it is. And it's just inserting below, but it's not, it took out my code. So that's what happens. It took the code out. It overwrote it. Or inserted maybe. So what I'll do is go back here, copy, and paste. There. And now it's saying it's freaking out because of the reference. I'm not sure why. Oh, probably because there's junk down here. So yeah, so this is the problem I'm now remembering. It doesn't like anything below it if it has that array formula. So if I get rid of this, course number comic 307001, yeah. Readings, go to the bottom, submit. There we go. Yeah. So this first line never works. So now that it's in there, anything that happens after this should be good. So outcomes in the right place, descriptions in the right place, all that stuff is fine. All right, cool. So anything you submit after this will actually populate properly. So that's that part. That's just that part. Now we're going to do the autocrat thing. So I'll do that in a separate video.